I've done this many, many years ago. So good job. Keep at it. I'm having so much fun being here.
Graduated when?
Long time ago.
She can guess her age, but in 2003 she graduated.
From
From where?
From Carnegie Mellon. I work as a finance manager at a local biopharmaceutical, just 2 minutes away from here. I have actually lived in both King County and Snohomish County, so I understand the benefits of both and the needs in both the counties. And I have been volunteering with UTSA for almost 5 years. Yeah, almost 5 years.
So what is Utsav? Utsav in the language, Athenian language means celebration, festival, joy, getting together. That's Utsav. And how it started with Utsav was, my kids are older, so I'm declaring my age now. My daughter is in med school, 27, while my son, who happened to be a data scientist, but moved into chiropractic college, so he did data science. So when they grew up and they were in 20s, and we're talking about civic engagement, we're talking about, we have been very, very engaged with the communities for a long time. And they said, and after talking to my wife, they said, Dad and Mom, you know, we have been so engaged with the communities, the temples and building hospitals back home in India, doing other stuff. And we've always been with you and done all things. But one thing you guys have never noticed, that we were born here. Our communities are here. Right? How are we engaged, or how is our community living here engaged with the community who's living here? And that rang a bell, saying, you know what? Immigrants come, they build their own communities, and they're very engaged, helping back home. But they forget that our kids who are born and brought up here, they have more connection with living here, and they're connected with us back home, but we were missing that. So this also came about as a bridge between South Asian and mainstream communities. We do a whole bunch of, like we do what's called Utsav Mela. Last year's was done at Bottle Landing, I don't know if anybody was there or not. Chancellor Lake, he was one of the speakers there. On our board, we have a senator. Muted my phone, but I don't know how to use this. And this phone is coming from a UW. They're doing some fundraising. So yesterday they called assembly meetings, called me again. Because I'm an alumni also from UW. Sorry. So on our board we have like a senator from Bothell, Derek Stanford. He's on our board. The Council of Snohomish County chair last year, he's on the board. And a lot of people from different wide varieties of mainstream and Asian teams are part of the board. So we are India. Anybody knows Indian subcontinent, when India was one? India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan. I'm missing Nepal, Sri Lanka. So we got a group of all those people, teams together, and we are a statewide organization. Actually, we even go beyond state. So we're not just confined to the Snohomish or King County. We go beyond. And as we said, our goal is to connect the mainstream and our communities and do a bunch of other things in terms of engagement. So we do some kind of some events, some fundraising, some engagement, some science projects and fairs, but we also bring people together. Like sometimes we auction dinners and people come to our homes because it's not just dinner. Some auctioneers get money, Domestic violence services, we did report that, and Big Boys and Brothers, so almost 80 people paid $100 each to them. But they also come to our homes and experience going to a home that they've never been to, or different culture, different country, right? So, an example. So, Shraddha, anything like to add who we are?
So, I feel that I'm a second generation.
So you were born?
I was born here. My kids are third generation. It's very important for me to help them stay connected to their roots as well as to the community here. We hope to stay here. We're not going anywhere. And the events that WITSA participates in are focused on bringing everyone together. I want my kids to feel comfortable here, be a part of the community so they can help to grow and enrich the community. And in order to do so, we need bonds, we need connections with everyone and all the communities here. So it's been very, very lucky. We've been able to expand our outreach through volunteers, through our own network, through all the coalitions, the 26 coalitions we're working with. It's an amazing opportunity to meet new people, we get information, share information about us, and just overall educate everyone. It's been a tremendous experience so far.
So any questions on who we are before we talk about the engagement that we might be looking with to do with students? Are we good? All right. So we talked about two things. One, we don't know where most of the people that we want to help bring out of the shadows into the mainstream and not live in their own cocoons, but engage, civically be engaged, live. The first one is, and we would like to go beyond Snohomish County, because otherwise the project would be a little small, or if you have to stay in Snohomish County, we're okay with that. Where are the majority of the people live from South Asian community? And South Asian is not one community. There are, even in India, there are hundreds of different languages and cultures. So it's not saying they're just one, we are so diverse. So where do we actually live here? And where are the consultations and where we can go and how we can reach them, right? And anybody who has some inclination to not only be able to look through data or go talk to people and find the resources of where the information is, but do more with it, right? Anything we can do mine and do some, I don't want to use data science as a very, very broad word, but any kind of analytics or any kind of thing you want to do, we'll have a whole bunch of people who are experts who can also help you, guide you, teach you if you want to. So you can expand it to a whole much beyond than collecting information, mining and providing some insights, to just collecting and saying, here are the people, here are the consultations, and these are the kind of people that we can target. That's the project number one, and we'll talk together. Project number two is like somebody at our home said, we need to engage. So we created an organization, made it 503C, did with IRS, and started with something. But what does civic engagement mean? So when ethnic communities or people who come from outside, they want to come together, they don't know what does it mean? What does it take? What strategies do we need to create to be successful? How do we to be more civic engaged, right? We have some resources and we had some academia or industry experiences, so Utsav got very lucky. But many others are not as lucky. So if we can create a kind of a strategy, what is a mission and vision for civic engagement for Utsav? And what it can, and what does it, how do you then make it, publicize it, how you make it known to people? Not only, first we need to draft it and then we need to communicate. What are the methods to communicate? Social, public media, websites. But then how do you expand that? How do you go coordinate and get funding or figure out a way from state or others, get funding. And if we want to do some more advocacy, how do we do that? Like, we have a senator on our, we can have people, this is session starting 13th. We can have the team go be in Olympia one day and meet and be with the senator and talk about some policy or advocacy. We can do that. But I don't want to say how big should be the project. I'll let the team decide. So we're talking about two things. Where are we geographically? Where we can make impact, number one. Two, what is impact and how can we implement an impact? So that's what we're looking for.
I want to add to that. The census is just an awesome opportunity right now to get this information, to help seek this information. Because on the other end of the spectrum, Ramana mentioned seniors. On the other end, we have kids. All this information is going to help to determine planning, city planning. How many schools do we need? How many parks do we need? Or do we have enough facilities for all the community members? We need all that information for the future, and this is just an amazing opportunity to get that. At the same time, we're facing barriers as well. Language and just general fear. Many people don't know what's the census. Is it something that's required? Is it optional? Do we have to do it? Why do we have to do it? Just general information about it is going to be a big step.
I think one thing you will learn is a lot of things that, and I'm going to say this please, allow me to say this. One of the things that the majority or the mainstream community takes for granted is not what a lot of people face in their daily lives. When you go and meet the people and interview them, you realize that what they face and what they see, what their trust level with everybody, government and even the mainstream communities, you'll find a big chasm between what you expect it to be and what actually happens here. So from your perspective, from your lens, everybody has a lens, right? The lens of the experiences or from the family, what they have learned. You might be you might be doing civic engagement from the lens that you have lived with. That's not the same lens that most of the other people who you need to engage with or bring into the engagement are the same. So you'll experience very different things by tackling this. One thing that Kara has said, and we'll get out stage soon, was if we do these things, right, it's not just for Census 2020. Yes, it has to be for Census 2020, but this can be templates for a new team, new organization, or for this plan strategy. Once census ends and you're talking about voter registration, say, how can we take that template to the next engagement? Next year, there might be another thing coming on, how to take it to the next engagement. So these things could be templates for a new team to be formed. Where to go where to engage people, and then what engagement means and how to make it happen. Could be a cookbook, right? That will be. Any questions? No?
Arun also shared, as most of these, you may, and the group have an opportunity for a public presentation moment. So Arun said there's a board of the staff, there's multiple communities. So depending on your group, if both that's of interest to all three of the organizations and to the students, that can be made possible as part of your work as well, and part of your relationship building and networking is to present your work to a broader audience.
And for some things like these, if you're inclined to learn, get some insights, you may take it to some corporations or companies to also show them how you can take the information and create some insights out of this and how those insights can be meaningful. There could be further opportunities. But we don't want, as we said, we'll be flexible. We have 3 months. We don't want to burden you with everyone to overreach, but there's opportunities are immense. Yes.
I was just curious a little bit more, you mentioned like a marketing, kind of like maybe a website, I don't know, do you currently have?
Yes,
Okay, so we can find out more about the,
yes. So the advantage is, we are a functional organization, we are registered with the state, we are registered with IRS. Like Boeing and Microsoft and others, we are registered with them, they give a great matching and others. But if we didn't have the background that we have or the resources we have, we would be struggling to so there will be many of the communities who may want to do the civic engagement, but they don't know how to do it. So the thing easy would be for you to document that these steps will be taken, but also most of the steps already have been taken, so actually you can take the project and finish in 3 months because you're not waiting to set up a website or a Facebook or register with IRS or figure out how to go make engagements. Most of the things are done.
so I was just thinking about, I know the census is happening and that's huge and really important for a lot of reasons in long term. But I was also thinking about like the election